For Naruto's original anime 20th anniversary, I'm going to take my time to explain why the original Naruto is a masterpiece in my eyes. So, what made many of us fall in love with the original Naruto anime is how human Kishimoto made his cast feel. Almost every character in this series has human problems. Everyone is struggling in some kind of way. Naruto, the main character, started off with nothing and no one. Absolutely being treated as an outcast by society. Being called a freak, a loser, and even wish for him to die. If you take the whole Nine Tails concept out, Naruto is pretty relatable in this way, and people who struggled to fit with their own family or people at their own school to be treated like trash, like Naruto, is something that is very painful. And I do believe people felt like this before. We all have different lives. Now looking at Sasuke, Sasuke was absolutely quiet and turned down everyone around him. Sasuke's life and himself was very calm, and he disliked to be bothered about anything and anyone. Obviously, Sasuke has some kind of dark past that's keeping him from everyone and reasons why he's avoiding people altogether. There's plenty of people who have problems with their own personal lives that make them feel like they need to isolate themselves all day and all night from the world and public. Sasuke is quiet during school. Sasuke would go to the dock and look at the sunset and mind his own business to clear his head. I'm not going to talk about the Itachi situation here, because I'm talking about Sasuke from an outside perspective. Sasuke's feelings would always be inside of his heart. He feels pain like anyone else, but that's what he keeps hidden from the world. To not show anyone who I really am or what I am feeling. Sasuke wants people to know from his body language. Sasuke does not like attention or people talking to him. He minds his own business every day until someone at the academy gives him an order. There's tons of people who feel cold like this in the world. There's always a reason why we hide ourselves from reality and other people in general. We do it for a reason. We don't hate anyone specifically, but we're just here to mind our own business and go with our days. Sasuke at this earlier on in the series was known to be the emo boy in the early 2000s, but when you get Sasuke's whole backstory later in the series, it completely makes sense why Sasuke is for who he is and why he does what he does. Now Sakura. Sakura started off to be very naive and clueless at the very beginning. Sakura had a crush on Sasuke and completely disrespected Naruto. But after Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura became Team 7 at the academy, Sakura was able to watch Naruto grow. During the writing exam and the tuning exams, Sakura finally respected Naruto after watching him always talking about becoming the Hokage. The Hokage! All the time. She watched him fight Zabuza and saw a great change within Naruto. Sakura knows how much his dream means to him. Sakura went from talking trash about Naruto at the beginning of being an orphan to Sasuke to supporting him and even risking her own life to save him now. Even if people won't give her the credit she does deserve, Sakura indeed did grow and develop as a character. Her feelings with Sasuke is a different situation though, but she started to dislike Naruto more less and is now calling him a teammate and cheering him on. Some people dislike people for the wrong reasons, but it proves the more you're around someone, you start to acknowledge who they really are now, and not for what they used to be. Now moving on to Shikamaru, he started out from one of the worst ways possible. He was lazy, even Neji thought he was a joke. He disliked Naruto like anyone else during school, but out of nowhere, Kishimoto was like, psych! He's actually top 5 best Ren Naruto characters. When Shikamaru fought with that Sound Ninja girl, this was the fight that changed everything for him. Shikamaru analyzes her fighting style and what she was using with the thread and the bells. So now we know he's not some lazy kid after all, he knows his shit. But what took everybody by surprise here is when Shikamaru used his Shadow Possession Jutsu to then make her throw her own shuriken with Shikamaru, but to only then knock her out, since her head was close to the wall while Shikamaru had plenty of room to dodge the same shuriken that she threw. Kishimoto proves here that we should never judge a character by their first impressions alone, that a creator might be hiding something or saving something amazing for that character that we doubted so strongly. Kishimoto likes to hide things and then proves us wrong when the moment is time to rise for that character. Now let's take a look at some amazing Naruto battles. One of my favorite underrated fights in Naruto is Sasuke vs Sakon. It's just so freaking well choreographed. Sasuke's earlier battles in part 1 is some of the best. When Sasuke was going to rely on string, this whole battle was very impressive. Just look at Sasuke's movements here, with the arm and the leg kicking and the moving, and then Sasuke slowly pins down Sakon with the string to bind him down to the roof. Sakon can't move. When Sakon went to fight Sasuke, he probably thought he was an unexperienced brat, but he ended up surprising him without a doubt. Going back to the Force of Death, another masterpiece battle is when Sasuke yet again, before, relied on string to capture Orochimaru and then bind him with a shuriken to the tree that was behind him. Back in part 1 Naruto, when things were smaller and low, it's what made it stand out to be the biggest part of OG Naruto, working with what you had left to get the job done. Let's look at Zabuza for a minute. Zabuza used one kunai knife in his mouth while having both of his arms broken, yet that was all that he needed to get the job done here. He slashed through every one of Gato's men, then killed Gato himself with a broken body, a broken arm, and being stabbed. That to me is impressive. Even with one shuriken alone to your mouth, you can still fuck up people. That was the shit back in the day. Look at Tsunade vs Naruto, one dodge and one finger flick, and then the fight was over. Kakashi vs Kabuto, a simple kick and a pushdown, and the fight was over. Yes, Naruto also had other summoning monsters in the show, but I think you get the point of what I'm getting at here. Naruto didn't use to be 100% extra to make the battles amazing, or look good. When Rock Lee took off his weights, that was still enough for people to lose their shit. When it comes to Naruto. Naruto was about a lot of things, and one of the most important writings in Naruto was how all the characters were trying to fit into the ninja world, and how some were struggling to fit into the ninja system in general. Hinata was struggling with her father that was disrespecting her, and she had no value. She couldn't even beat her younger sister Hanabi at the time. Hinata had to work hard for her father's respect. While trying to prove she's worth anything to Neji, Hinata was trying to fit in desperately. Neji even called her out by telling her, "You're not meant to be a shinobi. You only took the Chunin exam so Kiba and Shino could go. You wanted to support them when you knew you were not ready to be here yet." Hinata kept telling Neji he was wrong, but Neji isn't. Sadly, Hinata was too soft for the ninja life, and that's why she had to force herself to become a better and stronger person. Kiba even told Hinata to drop the fight if you are fighting up against Neji. He knew Hinata couldn't beat him, but Hinata wanted to face reality and wanted to fight the battle anyway. She had to prove something to herself and for her team. Before they both fought, Neji just stands in front of Hinata, making her panic by using certain words surrounding her whole character and her whole identity, telling her how she is not meant for the ninja lifestyle. She shouldn't be here at all, telling her things Naruto strongly understands and strongly relates with. So much Naruto felt like Neji was insulting him as well. Naruto stood up for Hinata and helped her encourage herself to not run away. Naruto woke her up and she finally fought with Neji. Hinata sadly lost to Neji as expected, but Naruto, with Hinata's blood on his fist, made an important awareness to Neji. In Naruto's own words, he says, "I vow to win." And what makes this moment so impactful is when Naruto finally does fight Neji. Naruto was fighting to prove Neji's ideology wrong about what he said to Hinata, and what Neji told Naruto about what destiny really is. Naruto wants to become a Chunin, but the importance of trying to get through this twisted kid's mindset is by far more important on Naruto's mind than anything else. Neji tries to get through Naruto even after telling him about his tragic past with his whole family. Naruto, after being hit repeatedly by Neji's attacks, Naruto stands up in front of him and tells Neji, "Actually, I understand, but you know what? Who cares?" Neji acts like he's the only one suffering here, but Naruto knows there's all kinds of different pain we all experience. But Naruto fully gets that life goes on and we can't hold grudges on people. Naruto straight up told Neji he doesn't care about what he's talking about. He does understand the situation, but you have to move on, Neji. Naruto eventually grew up and moved on from his hatred towards the villagers who disrespect him. And now, look at him now. He wants their respect and is fighting for peace. And if that is possible, then Neji also can let go of his hatred too. The entire point of this whole discussion is that Hinata didn't do anything wrong. Neji is holding a pointless grudge on someone who is completely innocent. And this is why Naruto vs. Neji is just not extremely enjoyable of a fight. But the story and meaning behind it is very clever for the main character, knowing there are more important means to fight for than the reason why the Chunin exams are taking place. Meaning, Naruto probably would still confront Neji even if the Chunin exams were cancelled. Naruto was determined to talk to Neji personally. Now, time to cover a dark character and my favorite version of himself, Evil Gaara. Gaara terrified kids back in the day. You literally watched him brutally kill people, and he's okay with it. He needs to feed the demon inside of him. Gaara believed his purpose in life is to destroy the human race. As long as there are people in this world, I will never disappear, he claimed. Those scary words had power once. Because Gaara truly meant it, his introduction was during the Forest of Death. When the Rain Ninja were asking for their lives to be spared, Gaara instead responded with a bloodbath of rain, showing how far he will go to get his point across that he does not care about anyone but himself. He told Kankuro and Tomari, both his brother and sister, they meant nothing to him. You're probably asking yourself for the first time what broke Gaara to become so evil. Gaara's whole backstory was how someone can be deeply lied to and brainwashed and change a whole identity of a person. It is possible. Yashimaru, who told Gaara he means the world to him because his sister was Gaara's mother. She brought him into this world. You are my sister's legacy. But Yashimaru lied to Gaara in order to cover up his hatred for young Gaara. Gaara killed his mother at birth, and Yashimaru couldn't forgive him for doing this. One night he tried to assassinate young Gaara to take his revenge. He failed, but not without telling Gaara the truth about his feelings. He told Gaara, "You were never loved. Ever. I always hated you. Your own father wanted you dead. You are the village's ultimate weapon. Only love yourself and fight for yourself. That is what Gaara is. That is your purpose." Gaara then screamed out in pain after Yashimaru confessed everything, then took his own life. Gaara then carved love with his sand on top of his forehead, and Gaara is now understanding he matters only, and only his purpose is stronger than anyone else's. He is the ultimate weapon, the ultimate defense, the one out for blood. Lying to someone about their whole life can brainwash and control someone deeply. Gaara was lied to his whole life, and it turned him into a monster. Lying to someone can have a lot of effect mentally on someone's life. Gaara just wanted love, but he never got that. And naturally, he found his answer. In order to prove his existence, in order to prove that he has some kind of value, in order to keep living in this world, I will have to erase everyone. Only my purpose matters, and that is it. I will kill you. Believe me, when he threatens to kill someone, Gaara does mean it. I love what Kishimoto did with Gaara's character this earlier on. He's a broken, dark, sad character, but you fully understand why he became the character that he is and why he does what he does. Gaara had a purpose. It was a messed up purpose, but Gaara identifies as the evil version of Naruto, of what Naruto could become if Naruto never had Iruka. When Gaara and Naruto finally had their conversation in the hospital, Naruto is deeply scared and shocked because Gaara is not too much different than Naruto, and he realizes, I could have been just like him if I was always in the dark, if I was always in that lonely spot in life and no one came in my life. I could have been just like him. I could have taken my hatred on the world if Iruka never came to me when he did. Naruto is too afraid to attack Gaara, not because he's powerful, but because Naruto understands Gaara too damn much and understands and relates to him on a personal level. He feels like he's attacking himself in some kind of way. He's just so in shock that he met someone who had the same life, different experiences, but the same life. Naruto was saved from the darkness, while Gaara never left it. And look what he has become. It's genius writing, the good and the evil side of Naruto. One light, one darkness. Gaara represents of what Naruto could become, and Naruto represents of who he is now. Because he had everything, Gaara had no one. He had to find the answer on his own. And look where he got himself today. Amazing writing testing the main character. And what I love about Naruto the original, Naruto as a main character gets pushed so many goddamn times on a personal level. It's brilliant writing. To meeting Neji with his ideology, meeting Gaara, how he could have been just like him. It's pushing the character stronger and better. To Zabuza from the very beginning on how Naruto doesn't understand how the shinobi life works. Zabuza has seen everything and understands how to live in this lifestyle. While Naruto does have great points on how disgusting Zabuza treated Haku as a human weapon and not a real human being at all, he still doesn't understand why these things happen in the first place. Naruto wanted a real ninja mission after graduating from the academy. He got what he wanted. But now Naruto is just shocked to find out this is the real lifestyle of being a shinobi in the real world. Zabuza challenged him on his perspective on the shinobi world, versus what Naruto thinks is right or wrong, but Zabuza is simply doing what it means to survive in this reality. Naruto gets pushed so goddamn much in the series, and it's why I love the kid version of himself as my favorite of what I consider the best perspective on him as a person. Young and naive, but he's learning and understanding. There is something deeply personal I would love to talk about what Kishimoto does here with Rock Lee and Might Guy. The emotional storytelling of trying to move forward, trying to move on, trying to believe you have the ability to have a second chance. And sometimes you don't get it. You want to, but it just does not work. It is just not happening sometimes. You feel the struggle, the emotional stress that Rock Lee is under, trying to decide, should I take the risk? Take the surgery, 50-50, a chance I can live, a chance I will die during the surgery. But at the same time, it's a chance to get your life back together and become a shinobi again. After Lee lost to Gaara and Gaara broke his bones, you feel the emotional connection here. If you are anyone who's ever been in some kind of medical history in your life, you can relate to the struggle of trying to decide what comes next. Because Rock Lee knows if the surgery fails, he may die. It's what Tsunade told to Guy and what she told to Lee especially. And when you see this emotional moment where Lee is breaking into two pieces of himself in front of Guy, he's crying, he's frustrated. He hugs my Guy of telling him thank you for believing and supporting me, someone who's giving up on himself almost, and Guy is just there supporting the idea. You need to get the surgery. Yes, you could die, but you have to just take the risk. And if you do end up dying, I will be there to die by your side. You feel the love and the support. How Kishimoto breaks his characters to make them feel so goddamn human and understanding these situations of what to do with your life and the support of others right there. He knows how to write a character emotionally and so human. You really do feel Rock Lee's pain here because he could die if the surgery fails and you don't want him to die. but at the same time, you don't want him to give up on his shinobi. You want him to get back on track. And Guy wants that too, but at the same time, he understands where Rock Lee is coming from. What do I do? But at the same time, you just gotta take the risk so you do live and you do get the surgery, and it is a success. You understand the situation completely. You're really worried for Rock Lee. You're loving Guy right here for being supportive and caring back to Lee for his struggles. You understand Rock Lee's position of being so clueless right now. Like, he doesn't have the answers. He doesn't have the ideals. The only thing Rock Lee can do right now is reflect on his own life of how he got from before to now. He doesn't have the answers here. Tsunade respectfully told him, "You don't have to be a ninja anymore. You can live and not take the surgery. It won't kill you to live a normal life now." But Rock Lee doesn't want his goals to come to an end so soon. Lee believes his story isn't over yet. But if he does take the risk and the surgery is a success, he can continue his dreams. But at the same time, Rock Lee doesn't want to die. This story between Might Guy supporting Lee and taking the risk to Tsunade being completely real and honest with both of them, and seeing Rock Lee at his most weakest levels ever. I'm just amazed of the character writing Kishimoto gave to us. Now, finally, after covering both Gaara and Lee's storylines, let's now talk about the battle that got Rock Lee messed up in the first place. Rock Lee versus Gaara. The one classic fight that people rank in the top 3 best fights in all of anime and all of Naruto. Rock Lee versus Gaara is so beautifully well choreographed with the taijutsu, the movement, the animation, the weight, the storytelling of this fight of Rock Lee trying to prove to everyone that you don't have to rely on ninjutsu and genjutsu to become a successful warrior. You can just rely on taijutsu and prove your worth to the world. The reason why this storytelling works so well is because Rock Lee is around other kids his age who are very foolish and naive, who don't think or know that you can become something great without the other abilities of becoming a ninja. You can rely on taijutsu to prove your worth. It is possible. These kids didn't think anything about it. They didn't know it was even possible. Rock Lee grew up in an era in his life where he was being made fun of, joked on, people disrespected him, and he proved everyone wrong. And it worked because these were young shinobi trying to become a Chunin, and Rock Lee is here to show everyone, I am up there with everyone else, just on a different level, but I'm still worth it. And Rock Lee did what he wanted. He got his dream. He proved it to everyone that hard work beats natural born talent in some situations, and sometimes by a fact, you can become something greater than someone who was gifted. You just have to work for it, but you will get up there. The Hidden Lotus, him entering all 5 gates, the primary Lotus, Gaara's evil awakening. This fight was amazing. The animators did a great job in 2002. I love this fight. You love this fight. It's a beautiful fight to fanboy. Rewatch it every now and then. I do it, you do it. This fight is a classic. It had not just a great fight, the storytelling of why Rock Lee is doing what he is doing to make the audience concern for him, love him, and support him, that you don't want him to go all out with the 5 gates, but you know he has something to prove, so you do want him to do it. But at the same time, you know if he does, he's going to risk his own body. The gates is taijutsu. Physical strength, your bones, your skin, your sweat, everything is going to be ripped and broken completely if you go all out to the 8 gates. But Lee only mastered the 5th gate, so he'll be damaged, but he won't die. But that concern, when you first watch Naruto, you are worried for him. Is he going to live, die, or be completely injured? Because the suspense that Kishimoto does here is concern Kakashi that Lee is not even on his team, but he told Guy in his face, you did not teach him the gates. That boy down there risking his whole life, you pushed him to go that far knowing there's a chance he won't win, and my guy told him, you don't know anything about Rock Lee. You have no right. You don't know what he's been through. I love it The storytelling in Rock Lee vs. Gaara is one of the best. The care, the love, the support, the concern, the damage, the taijutsu, the animation, this fight had everything! It had everything, man. Rock Lee vs. Gaara is hands down one of the best, and it has such an emotional structure at the end where Rock Lee does not win. You could argue Rock Lee should have won, but from a story point of view, he should have lost. This depressing character arc Rock Lee is going through, it proves nothing is without cost. And if you truly want to make your dreams come true, sometimes you have to sacrifice everything. Even if you live, just the chance to prove it to everyone for a short period of time, you accomplished something. And if that is the heavy price of losing your body, your spirit, your bones breaking for that short period of time of something you've been wanting to prove, sometimes it is worth it, because usually it's something. It's better than nothing. Imagine if Rock Lee did win and he didn't learn anything from his lesson, which would not be bad at all if Rock Lee did win and beat Gaara. It's just that the recovery that Rock Lee goes through, it just shows you more of a realistic take on the real world. Sometimes even if you do live, you lost, but you lived, you have to learn. Nothing is without cost. You can recover, you can get back on your feet. It is a very sad period time in your life when you ever went through these ups and downs, when you accomplished something, but there was sacrifice. At least you can live to fight for a better tomorrow, or live to have a chance to recover everything and start all over. It's better than just dying. It's going to be depressing not doing anything for a while, but at least you got the chance to show what you are made out of, something you've been wanting to do for a long time. It's better than nothing. So this realistic breakdown, depressing arc that Rock Lee is going through right now, I love it because it feels more of what a human would go through if something did happen, and how it is to sacrifice everything to prove something, but you have to learn. Nothing is free. There is sacrifices, regrets, and painful decisions you have to make trying to make your goals to come true. And I feel like, from my personal opinion, this personal character arc that Rock Lee had to go through, it made his character even more loved and more of a value. Always remember, your body never lasts forever. You don't know how often you can break it or destroy it. But as long as you were able to accomplish something during that time, and then have a chance to rise up and start all over, be extremely thankful, and your life will get back to normal again. Now then. Now let's finally talk about the first two villains in Naruto, Zabuza and Haku. Zabuza's introduction was just perfect. Zabuza showed us what it means to be a full-fledged shinobi, and he was also the first to tell us how other villages handled their ninja systems differently. In the Hidden Leaf Village, you can graduate by mastering the Shadow Clone Jutsu and other similar jutsus as well, enough to be good enough to leave the academy, while Zabuza had to kill his own classmates in order to prove his worth. It's either you or your friend. It's either kill or be killed. When I was at your age, my hands was already covered in blood. Zabuza scared Team 7 shockingly. Zabuza had way more experience than they ever could. He also was the leader of the assassination squad in the Hidden Mist Village. Zabuza was our introduction of what to expect going further into Naruto. Haku was a broken tool. His father killed his mother and tried to kill him too. Due to the Kekkei Genkai and wars from the past, those users were feared by many, and Haku was one of them. Haku ended up taking his father's life in order to survive out of fear. Haku then had to live on the streets, eating from trash cans and kicking animals to keep the food for himself so he can eat to survive. Zabuza noticed him by himself on the bridge one snowy night. Zabuza told him, "If you plan on staying out here longer, you'll die." Haku smiled and told him, "Your eyes are the same as mine. We aren't so different, you and I." Zabuza was shocked, with an expression on his face to hear those words. Zabuza gave Haku a choice. Either stay here and die in the snow, or will you come with me and be of some use, and come see the world with me? Haku got up, nodded his head by saying yes. Zabuza took him under his care and respectfully trained him and taught him how to survive. And along with Haku's Genkai Genkai, he naturally became a better fighter over time. Haku had a purpose, once again. Now this is the deep meeting between the relationship. Haku is aware Zabuza is a terrible person. He's aware of the choices and the life Zabuza has chosen for himself. In some people's eyes, no matter how cold a person is, or no matter how many times they have killed someone, Zabuza gave Haku a purpose to keep living again when he had no one, nothing left. And like how Haku told Naruto, it's through the reflection of others that we have hope again, but it's the same as being dead when you live in this world with no purpose. It's the same of just not existing. You need a purpose to live. Haku had nothing until Zabuza came along in his life and gave him a purpose again, a reason to live. And without a purpose, you feel hopeless. He felt like his life didn't have any meaning anymore. And Zabuza gave that chance back to him to be useful to him, regardless of the life that Zabuza is living and it's affecting Haku to become a criminal. Haku wouldn't be here at all if it wasn't for Zabuza for taking care of him when he would die that snowy night. People are sick, people make horrible decisions, but through the eyes of the innocent, that's the only path you can take, a reason to live. Some people can take care of others while doing wrong to other people in this world. Everyone has a purpose to care about something, and Zabuza finally admitted his true feelings that he was wrong of what he did to Haku, treated him as a weapon when Naruto talked to him personally, that Haku lived to serve you, did everything for you, and you barely showed any kindness to him. Zabuza knew he was wrong, told Naruto he was talking too much. Your words cut deeper than any blade. Haku was always too soft and too kind. He never intended to kill you when he was fighting against you both earlier. That wasn't who Haku was. And Zabuza admitted, no matter how cold of a killer you are, a shinobi can never escape their true feelings. We all try to escape that we're not human, but we are. And at least I have failed when it comes to that perspective. Zabuza tried to cover up his identity of being a cold killer, a brutal person, but even himself alone knows he has feelings, he has emotions, he's human. He's not just a demon of the hidden mist, but he's someone who feels emotion like anyone else, and you can't escape emotion, no matter how hard you try to cover it up with an identity of being a demon in the mist. Those feelings were always there, but Naruto made him realize those feelings are coming out today, and he wronged Haku for never thanking him once for anything, and he would take that to his death, knowing that he really wished he can go there where Haku was going, which is heaven. But after the wrong Zabuza has done in this world, he believes he's not going there. He's going to hell. He wants to go to Haku in the afterlife to join him to make up for everything he's done. But after what Zabuza has done in his own personal life, he feels like he doesn't deserve to join him there. And this is what makes Naruto so underrated when it comes to its character writing, that a lot of people seem to not fully grasp, is when Kakashi tells Zabuza, you never know, you may join Haku there. It's not our decision. Meaning, no matter how cold of a killer you are, human beings are not the ones to decide where you go after death. Zabuza could see Haku in heaven, which is what Kakashi was hoping. Even he understood that he was their enemy, a cold killer. It's not his decision to say where you will go after your time is up. And I love that because it's true. Human beings, with their hatred, we decide where they're going after they die because they did wrong decisions and they made horrible life choices. But at the end of the day, we're not God. Kakashi hopes Zabuza will have comfort seeing him in the afterlife, because he understood that he made huge mistakes of Haku, and Kakashi understood that Zabuza felt guilty, and he wanted to see him before he died, and Kakashi respectfully carried him, their enemy, there, so he can make peace with Haku before he goes. And when you have the heroes respectfully standing in front of their enemies' corpses, dying together, knowing they were their enemies, they are looking at them as human beings, broken human beings that were flawed, but they are dying together as a send-off. The heroes are making peace with their enemies, respecting what Zabuza wanted in his final moments. And it's very sad, but it's beautiful storytelling that they were treating them as people, not their enemies, not evil people, but broken people that were wronged in the shinobi world. And it's what created them to do what they were doing. Kakashi understands that. Naruto respectfully cried for Haku. It's a very beautiful way to end a character arc for Zabuza and Haku, in my personal opinion. That even if you did evil decisions and made horrible mistakes, you can still find some kind of comfort in your last remaining moments. And sometimes the heroes can respect that, and sometimes they don't. But in this matter, Team 7 watched them pass away together. I love it. With the snow, the soundtrack, the emotions, it's just such a human character writing moment that I respect that Kishimoto did this for them. Haku was so loyal to Zabuza for giving him another chance at life, a purpose again. He was so goddamn loyal to Zabuza, he threw his life away to protect him from death, from Kakashi's lightning blade when Kakashi was about to end him. Haku took the sacrifice. Zabuza was thankful that Haku once again was used as a weapon to protect him, to serve him, but Kakashi realized this is messed up. He saved your worthless life, and for what? And the anger Kakashi feels when he told Naruto, "Leave this fight to me, it's mine." When Naruto wanted to help, Kakashi knew this just got real deep and real personal. Haku did what he did. After losing to Naruto, he felt like there was no purpose for him. He asked for Naruto to end him because he failed. Naruto, in my opinion, was going to kill Haku because he was trying to avenge Sasuke, because he also had a dream when he believed Sasuke just died in his arms from Haku. In my opinion, again, I think Naruto was really going to kill Haku, but Haku hesitated and stopped Naruto immediately so he can go die for Zabuza. That's loyal shit, man. But he was loyal to Zabuza without a doubt and took it to his death. Now our favorite snake villain, Orochimaru. Orochimaru is not the most complex in Naruto as a villain, but he doesn't need to be. He drove the original series for what it needed. Without him, there is no Naruto. Orochimaru brought fear to everyone. Sasuke was this cool kid everyone was amazed by, but to Orochimaru, he was only a test. He made Sasuke fear him so badly, he made Sasuke throw up and wanted to run just to survive. Sasuke shows us even he has fear and is afraid of death. Orochimaru shown some disturbing elements to his character. Everyone is like food to him, and he also likes to play with that food himself. Sasuke was a test to see what he was worth compared to Itachi, his older brother. He put the curse mark on him to develop his hunger for more power he desires. The second test was to see what Sasuke would do with this power, and the sound ninja that were sent to kill Sasuke, Sasuke ended up torturing Zaku by breaking his arms after hurting Sakura. Sasuke accepted in order to get closer to his goal to defeat Itachi, even if it means to be consumed by evil and take all the risks, so be it. I am an Avenger, and he helped me to remember that. Kakashi was overwhelmed by Orochimaru's presence alone. He said one of us will be dying here. Orochimaru accomplished something that other villains didn't. He himself is fear, and he made everyone be concerned on their guard. Without Orochimaru, there is no Naruto Part 1 here. He was responsible of what made us fall in love with the series to begin with. The crazy snake devil back in his Hidden Leaf days went as far by kidnapping, Genin, and Chunin for experiments to work on, and wasn't afraid to admit it. Orochimaru became one of the most iconic anime villains ever, and we love him for this. Now, after taking my time analyzing the amount of emotional character writing in Naruto, I hope you understand as to the reason why I love Naruto as much as I do, and why I do believe it's the best character-driven story in shonen. These are my personal attachments to the characters and what I got out of the character writing. Naruto obviously is a shonen battle anime, and obviously you have to follow the shonen battle formula to even get published, but what I love most in Naruto, it takes moments of its storytelling that doesn't feel like a shonen, it feels like a human story having human problems. and a lot of elements to really consume and to really relate with. Either if it's the villain or the hero, you get something from both sides. And the reasons why I love Naruto so much is because I just get so much more out of the character writing. Naruto, like, people don't understand. Naruto doesn't have to be the best shonen or it needs to be in the top 5. I don't care. I really do believe that personal experience matters over what is considered the best written in the story genre of any kind of anime or any kind of manga. I go by personal experience. If I relate to something personally, you already got me hooked. And if I see something that is considered a very masterpiece in any style of way that is pretty much voted by any kind of opinions of the community, and if I go and watch something that is considered a very well written series, and if I don't really feel like I'm getting anything out of it, well then sometimes the best written doesn't really mean anything. You just gotta find what you connect with. So what I'm saying is, if people feel like Naruto doesn't hold up or Naruto is incomplete, like it missed a lot of things or it did a lot of things wrong in some people's eyes, I don't care, because I got something out of it that a lot of people didn't. And a lot of people do criticize Naruto, and I understand that. There's a lot of things I don't like about the series either. But there's so much positiveness and reasons why I keep coming back to Naruto is why I consider it a masterpiece in my eyes. Not a masterpiece in a way where everyone has to agree about the public opinion, but in my eyes of what Kishimoto accomplished with its character writing for a shonen battle anime, I just view it as just great writing and something to really get behind from each character. And what I love about Kishimoto's writing the most when it comes to him just writing every character, even the main character, is that I don't have to watch Naruto for Naruto the main character. I love Naruto as the main character. It's just I really do believe he accomplished a lot more with his side characters than the main character himself. That's just how I always viewed Naruto as a whole series, that he doesn't have to be the best written or he doesn't have to be the one to shine the most, because I got a lot more out of his side characters than the main character himself. But that's from my viewing. I don't want to say that Naruto is the best written in the series or Naruto is the best character just because, well, I grew up with him like everyone else. No, I don't have that main character bias. If I simply don't think Kishimoto accomplished a lot more with Naruto compared to some of the writings that he did with the side characters, well then that's my answer. I can't be biased towards Naruto as a main character just because I grew up with him. That's just not fair. From a writing point of view, I really do believe Kishimoto accomplished a lot more in depth with the side characters and their philosophy and their lives than, well, what Naruto was given. And that's just how I've always consumed anime recently, that side characters just have a lot more going for them because the main character is supposed to have almost everything. It's supposed to be the most easiest character to understand, while the side characters, they have so much less to work with because they're side characters, yet they have a lot more deeper impact on you, well, than sometimes what Naruto offers as a character. Side characters to me are just different. They're not supposed to have everything. They're not supposed to have the main focus, but they feel more human sometimes than most main characters for me. And I completely understand when people think that Rock Lee is the better main character than Naruto. Obviously, some people don't agree with that, but I understand where they're coming from. I understand why they would say that. But I would always prefer side characters than main characters because that's just who I am. And I simply just get out of a lot more with side characters than main characters. That's just how I see things. That's just how I view things when it comes to any kind of storytelling. And Naruto was where it started for me, where I started to really be invested in side characters. And I moved on to other anime series where I really like the side character than the main character. And any anime I watch now today, Naruto will always be responsible why I view things differently now, why I'm so picky when it comes to character writing. I don't care what series is considered, well, a king by many people's opinions about what makes a show great. If I just don't feel it, I don't feel it. And if Naruto has less value than a lot of other shonen or a lot of other series, well, then I don't care because I didn't get anything out of the masterpieces that people claim they are. Sometimes you just gotta go by what you personally feel like that's where your heart belongs to, and Naruto to me is a series where I feel very fond of it. I feel like I'm getting so much more out of it. Even if it is considered less in quality for a lot of people's eyes, Naruto is just where I feel at home, and it's where I really believe the characters are so damn human. I can't stop but to love it even more when I watch it for the 5th or 10th time. I always come back to Naruto, always, for the last 17 years. And this series just means so goddamn much to me on a very human and personal level. The characters I connect the most with, man, I love Naruto to the point where I can't see any other shonen series or any other anime to impact me the same level as what Kishimoto did with his characters. And like I said, Naruto is a shonen battle anime, which means it's going to have some unoriginal aspects to it, but at the same time, Kishimoto has written his characters in a certain point of view where I can't see it rival of what Kishimoto accomplished. When you see the human writing in Naruto, you know it just hits differently. Some Naruto fans will understand me, and some Naruto fans won't understand me. But I'm just talking from my experience that Kishimoto created one of the, or maybe the, most human, story-driven series that I've ever seen. And this is coming from a person who has been watching Naruto and studying Naruto for 17 years. If you're someone who just watched Naruto in 10 months, you're not going to understand where I'm coming from. When you have time to consume something, analyze it, rewatch it, and understand it more and more, it's really impossible for someone who just watched it in 10 months or just watched it one time and don't really take the time to really rewatch everything, to really study a series that makes you feel like there's something special here. And I don't think a lot of people are going to see it because the amount of times that I saw it compared to someone who has seen it but not as many times. And I truly do believe the more you rewatch something and analyze it and understand its flaws and its weaknesses, you know what works and what doesn't work. And I am very confident to say I am probably one of the most Naruto fans that really understands the human writing more than the shonen formula of Naruto. And what I mean by that is that Naruto always felt like a different experience to me. I can't really explain it in words, but the amount of times I have seen Naruto, there are so many elements in the series that I just don't see in other shonen or other anime. And like I said, it's very hard to describe what I'm saying here. But when you watch Naruto on a very personal and certain way, I believe in your heart without exchanging dialogue to each other. When you watch Naruto the way that I've seen it, you can understand where I'm coming from without us really talking about it. You just feel it in your heart. Naruto is just, for me personally, Naruto the original. It's something that I just don't ever see ever coming again. It accomplished things that I just don't think I'm ever going to witness again. And it's not bias. It's just what I feel. It's just how I view Naruto as a whole series. That it's just so impactful to the point where I just don't see this formula ever coming to another shonen story, in my personal opinion. The character writing to me it was something very impactful and very original in my eyes, that I'm confident to say that I love Naruto because to me it always hit differently. It always felt different than other stories. And it doesn't have to be the best written to be different. It's just something you feel, and I hope you get where I'm coming from. Thank you for understanding my point of view here. As we are getting close to the end of the video, I have to talk about the Tsunade arc. I understand the Tsunade arc is not everyone's favorite and everyone considers it to be boring, but the Tsunade character arc is one of the main reasons why I love the original Naruto series. Specifically, Naruto is a shonen battle anime, and if you don't deliver the battles, the fans get a bit disappointed. And after coming off from the Chunin exams arc, which was a massive success for Naruto and the fans and Kishimoto, and then going into a slower arc, I understand the disappointment, but I love the Tsunade arc because it didn't rely on action to be good. It didn't rely on anything massive to be good. Not a lot of action, not a lot of drama, just a very personal character growth arc. This arc is so goddamn human, and I can't express enough of why it's my favorite arc. I love this arc because it wasn't so shonen battle. It was slow, it was mature, it was growing up, it was learning, and I understand if you don't love this arc, but I love it because it was just different from anything else in the original Naruto series. One of my favorite moments in this arc is when Jiraiya directly told Naruto, "I told you I would teach you new jutsu, but I did not say I would be your father, hold your hand, or help you on your journey. You're a shinobi, so act like one. Grow up, Naruto." Naruto at this point has never been as pushed or has never been received with so much strictness by someone, and Jiraiya was really giving it to Naruto. If you want to be a shinobi, if you want to be in this life, you have to learn to do things all on your own, and he really pushed Naruto. Naruto was very frustrating over this jutsu, the Rasengan. He didn't know what he was doing right or wrong. He didn't believe Jiraiya was telling him the full truth about how to master this jutsu. Naruto was reflecting on his own past, that he should have paid attention to Iruka about chakra control and how to completely balance it to the point where you will have full control to accomplish whatever you want. Obviously, at the time, Naruto didn't need that information, but look at it today, and Naruto needs that information. But thankfully, Naruto remembered, and he did exactly what Iruka taught him in the academy, to balance chakra at a certain point, and then you will have full mastery and control. And that is how Naruto mastered the second stage of the Rasengan, that learning from your mistakes and knowledge is always important, that you can achieve a lot of things if you pay attention. Naruto thankfully now knows that mistakes will be made, but you can learn from them. And then when you do remember what you should have learned a long time ago, it can just come back to you in a heartbeat. And then you put that knowledge and awareness together, and you're able to accomplish something that was so difficult, but now it became second nature to you. And Naruto did it. He bursted that hard balloon, and Jiraiya was like, this kid is something else. Now then, Tsunade herself. The blood issue of why she was so scared of it, so clever, so executed very well. Tsunade has a title to live up to the world. She is the best medical ninja. She has a title to live up to everyone who meets her. You don't know her personal life. You don't know what she's been through. And Tsunade is human. She's the definition of, doesn't matter what title you are to the world, you're human, and when people don't know your life or what you've been through, you can't really put full judgment or know the full story until you know the full story. When we first get introduced to Lady Tsunade, we are now fully aware she is, one, a medical ninja. Secondly, she has a fear of blood. And thirdly, you realize those two things don't mix. You can't be a doctor at the same time be fear of blood. But when you understand her whole life and understand her mindset and understand why she got here, you realize of how a human element is built here. It does not matter what kind of title you have in the world. You're human, and people don't know your whole life. So when you find out the full story about what happened between her lover and her brother, how they both died during war, and when Dan died in front of her covered in blood on her hands and face as well, you understand, after being traumatized with not just any blood, but the blood of someone you loved, over time that gets to you on a completely different element. And the fear of blood is such a clever writing point of view that you always have weaknesses, you always have issues. And Tsunade left the Hidden Leaf Village because she was trying to get away from her life, her past. It was too painful. She even went as far to try to stand up to the Third Hokage about what they can do for the greater good when it comes to these ninja wars. How every unit needs a medical specialist, but the Third Hokage rejected and believed it would take too much time. But he didn't even try. And you see the frustration and care Tsunade has. But after so many elements of her life not going the way that she wanted them to, and after losing both people that she cared about deeply, you understand why she was falling apart. You understand why she was leaving the village to get away from that life. And it's very human to just fall apart. Does not matter what title you have in the world. Eventually you'll break, and you'll just walk your own path until you may find yourself or you may not. And sadly, Tsunade never found herself. She just lived an easy, normal escape life. Traveling, gambling, borrowing money, drinking. She became a former shell of herself. Now, the dinner scene between the reunion of Jiraiya and Tsunade is so beautifully executed. As they are talking and playing cards, they are understanding more and more about each other. Mostly Jiraiya learning more about Tsunade in this moment because he has not seen Tsunade in a very long time. And Tsunade is disrespecting the legacy of being a Hokage. Naruto's mad, Jiraiya is very surprised. He even tells her, "I don't know what happened to you, Tsunade, but it seems like you've changed." He's aware of what happened to her life, but the time that she was traveling far away from the Hidden Leaf Village, he does not know anything about of who she is now. Whoever he saw Tsunade as before she left the village was the only version of her in his mind. So when he has this reunion with Tsunade, it's a completely different version of herself. And Jiraiya is surprised that she is disrespecting the legacy of being a Hokage or any Hokage because she believes it's a fool's game. What's the point? But you understand, like I said earlier, her mindset of why and how she got to this level, why she's so negative. And it is disrespectful as hell, but from a writing point of view, you get why she just gave up on that ninja life, especially the Hokage legacy that is just pointless. There's no point. After being rejected by the third Hokage, and how things just don't go her way, you understand why it just becomes a bit helpless. Like, what's the point? Playing Hokage is a fool's game for a reason for her. She feels like it's just a pointless job. Even Orochimaru said the same thing to her earlier on, that who wants to become the Hokage? It's a fool's job. So this moment in particular is very clever in my personal opinion. A different perspective on Tsunade in front of Jiraiya's face, knowing she is more disrespectful, she is more not open-minded, she's not as happy, she is very negative, she even has an adult attitude. We know that she's an alcoholic, and this character writing is just perfect to prove to an audience that anyone can go downhill. Even if you have a great title to live up to, when you fall down, you fall down. But thankfully, after meeting Naruto, Tsunade had flashbacks of their dreams, their goals, her little brother's and Dan's dream, that they had something very similar. They wanted the same dream and the same goal of becoming the Hokage and changing the world or the village itself for a brighter future. Bringing back to her past made her realize that she was wrong, that there is something to fight for, there is something to stand up for. After Jiraiya telling her what it means to be the Hokage and what the Hokage did to fight for that village, it survived as long as it has because they put their lives on the line to defend it. To Naruto respecting the legacy of what it means to be the Hokage to him and what it means to fight for a dream. And to Orochimaru doubting the job and disrespecting the title of why would anyone want the title of becoming the Hokage. It's a pointless job. A fool would only want that experience. And then the amount of awakening, Tsunade finally gets up and says, "I am the 5th Hokage. I have a title to live up to." And she stands up during the Hokage reunion battle to defeat Orochimaru. She lived up to her title, and she finally awoken to become the person that she used to be. The one that had the heart, the passion, the strength, and the motivation. She finally got it after so many discussions of doubting the job, what it means to be the Hokage, her own flashbacks and memory of why she left the village and why she forgot her life. It all came back to her all together, and she figured it out of what it really means to be herself. And it was a beautiful comeback to awaken her original self well-being. It paid off beautifully. One of the most saddest moments in her whole character arc is when she's confessing Orochimaru way earlier on before the battle started that the pain that she feels will never go away. As many times that I want it to, this pain will not leave me. After losing her brother and her lover, it will always haunt her. And she had a great moment of weakness to throw everything away just to see them again after Orochimaru gave her the opportunity to see them again with the reanimation jutsu. She admitted that she was weak and vulnerable, to go as far to bring them back just to see them again and disrespect their legacy of dying as a warrior. It was a very sad and true self-aware point of view that she's admitting her weaknesses and her strengths, but I love it. It's such a human writing arc, and I love it so much because it's so different. The Tsunade arc is my favorite for this reason. And one of my favorite character moments in this arc is when Jiraiya and Tsunade are just catching up in another restaurant about Tsunade's feelings, about Naruto discussing about the past, and I love these moments where characters are just interacting. I've always been a fanboy when it comes to these slow character moments because you don't have to rely on action to tell a story. Sometimes just realistically writing characters just talking and interacting is enough for me to say I could feel the character writing of storytelling. Now, going back and reflecting on Shikamaru again, Shikamaru versus Temari is one of the most clever battles Kishimoto ever wrote and choreographed. This entire fight, Shikamaru wanted Temari to think that she was going to beat him. Shikamaru wanted Temari to know that he was inferior compared to her. Temari thought everything was going to be fine, that she figured everything about him out. The range of his shadow's attacks, the longer the battle, the longer the sun goes down. The more that the sun goes down, the stronger the shadows and stretch will be. And that was part of the plan. He was pushing her further and further next to the hole where Naruto punched Neji, at the same time wanting her to think that she was still going to win. And the time of moment where she thought she had a plan in mind, Shikamaru stretched the shadow back and then made it go forward again just to go into the hole and then out of the hole and then caught her by the back. Didn't know at all. And that was the genius of Shikamaru. He was a clever strategist in this entire battle, especially when he used his shirt and kunai for the stretch to make the shadows go further than he was supposed to. It was genius. And then when you get Shikamaru versus Tayuya, there's this moment where Tayuya counters Shikamaru with her summonings. He only has a few paper bombs, a few string, a few flash bombs. He did the math, he did the numbers, and it may look like he was throwing random weapons and kunai, but it was all part of the plan. To the point where they all jumped him, and then Shikamaru threw his last kunai for the flash bomb, and while the monsters came at Shikamaru, they were not guarding her. The flash bomb does his thing, and he got her summonings like that. Like, holy shit. This fight was so clever. Again, back when Naruto Part 1 fights didn't have to be so big to be fucking good. I love this fight because it proves you don't have to do over the top to make a fight worth it, to make it enjoyable. Shikamaru took his time, did the math, did the numbers. He analyzed the battle, her summonings, her fingertips of the flute. It was so beautiful, well done. And what's even more clever is that he paid attention to her dialogue when she said, "This flute is my only weapon." He threw that kunai next to her and missed on purpose so she can pick it up after he was paralyzed from her genjutsu, but he got out of it because he was breaking his fucking finger and took the kunai. She took the kunai because, like I said earlier, that was her only weapon, so she took advantage of his, and then that was to his advantage to get closer to her. For Tayuya to try to kill him, she got very close, and then that was to his advantage, and then he caught her, punched her, and they were in sync. Oh my god. Kishimoto, you were a clever writer in the original series when it comes to writing a fight. Goddamn, like the Sakon versus Sasuke fight that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, when things were smaller in Naruto, that was its strongest points. Holy goddamn. I love Naruto Part 1 battles, man. Now, after talking about so many other characters in Naruto, let's go back to Sasuke Uchiha, talking about his whole mindset. Imagine being the only one to have an older brother that decided to kill your whole clan in one single night, and left you alive to take him down respectfully. But you're so above everyone else in the academy, yet you've been told you're going to be forced to have the single most biggest loser, Naruto, and the worst student in history on your team, just to eventually see him surpass you in every single way imaginable. During Gaara vs Naruto, Sasuke saw everything Naruto was able to do to win this battle, while Sasuke, because of the influence from the pain of the curse mark from Orochimaru, Sasuke couldn't do anything. But even if Sasuke was at 100% health, Sasuke didn't know the summoning jutsu, which was completely needed to defeat the Sand Spear Shikaku from inside Gaara. Naruto did, and fought Gaara and defeated him while you couldn't do anything at all. But wait, it totally gets worse. Itachi shows up after 5 years from killing your clan, and you've been working hard up to this point, even mastering the legendary Chidori, just for Itachi to say, "Go away, you don't interest me at the moment." But overheard Itachi was way more interested in Naruto. More than you. Then Itachi beats you bloody and puts you in a Tsukiyomi coma just to wake up later to realize I failed. Again. Sasuke's darkness was foreshadowed during the Forest of Death. Like I mentioned way earlier, Sasuke with power feels more confident to be himself, but Sasuke without power feels hopeless. But compare him to Naruto, Naruto didn't ask for the Nine-Tails' help at all to fight against Gaara the second time he needed to summon Gamabutta. Naruto, without using the Nine-Tails' power, and was relying on his blue chakra instead, Naruto feels proud of himself. Feels super confident he can do this now. Sasuke has every right to feel confused and frustrated at this point. It makes complete sense that Sasuke doesn't understand why he's so inferior compared to Naruto. Now fast forwarding to the final battle at the end of the series, Sasuke gets that huge power feeling again and feels so confident he could just take on the world, simply because he has the power of the curse mark that unleashed itself again. And what does he do with it this time? He uses it to punch Naruto to get his point across he doesn't want him in his life. Sasuke with power, in my honest opinion, is the real Sasuke Uchiha. He even told Naruto that guy who dreamed of peace and friendship, he was the one who was asleep. The story is telling us that the current Sasuke that we see now at the Final Valley is who he truly always was. Orochimaru just finally brought that awakening out of him. Sasuke's whole mindset was foreshadowed from the very beginning of the series to the end of the series. We knew at some point Sasuke was going to change sides. Kishimoto did a masterpiece job on writing Sasuke's character arc. A person who isolated himself from everyone and didn't want to have anyone in his life, who over time respectfully admired the people that came into his life and almost wanted to walk in this direction instead because of them. But at the end of the day, he decided on revenge. It was the main reason why he's living, and I couldn't ask for a better execution for his character. Now, to end the original series with Naruto versus Sasuke was just so fucking perfect. Naruto and Sasuke both have valid reasons why they are fighting against each other. Sasuke is fighting to leave and walk in his new direction, while Naruto is fighting a battle without the full context of why Sasuke truly wants to leave. Naruto's only fighting this battle trying to do the right thing, the right meaning to bring him back. But you can't really blame Naruto. Sasuke refused to tell him anything because it's his choice and his path to follow. He said in his face, "It's my concern, not yours. I'm leaving the village." So I understand the full perspectives of both characters and the emotional storytelling of Naruto's feelings, that he feels like he should have been there for him at the very beginning, but he has regret that he wasn't, and now it's too late and Sasuke is walking in the wrong direction, and he's afraid he may never get him back for going to Orochimaru. Moving on from the storytelling of this fight, the masterpiece taijutsu still holds up 20 years later. Everything is well choreographed and the colors look amazing. I believe we all can agree this was the best way to end the original Naruto series. Now then, the final Chidori versus the final Rasengan, it's iconic. The colors, the detail, the animation, the stance, it's a final send-off that they are coming to an end of this battle. Naruto passes out while Sasuke catches him and leaves him behind on the rubble, while his headband flees from his head. He tries to tell Naruto, "I'm sorry," but he hesitated. It rained, and Sasuke collapsed and looked at Naruto's defeated face. Sasuke won, but it doesn't feel like a true victory, because while the battle ended, Sasuke is walking slowly in the rain, with a very sad look on his face, reflecting on his past and his family. And then noticed, "I almost killed Naruto, but I don't want to kill him just because you told me to, Hitachi. I will get my hands on that power, but I won't do it the way that you want me to do it." So at the end, Sasuke spared Naruto's life. His hate for Itachi was stronger. He doesn't want to achieve it the way that his brother told him to, the same man that he deeply hates. But at the end of the day, I love Naruto the original. It's a masterpiece of character writing in my opinion. There are some flaws in the series, but when it comes to just character writing and everything Kishimoto accomplished, I really do believe Kishimoto created one of the best character-driven stories in the whole anime and manga genre. Everything is just very powerful, very realistic. The true life lessons, I can't ask for anything more. And thank you Studio Pierrot for the amazing Naruto soundtracks. And happy 20th anniversary to Naruto the original. I'm Delix, subscribe if you want, and stay Ninja Weird, and 20 years of Naruto. Believe it. Have a good night. Bye.